Hits and Crits. This video is brought to you by Asmodee.
What's up, Hits and Crits family? Welcome to a new episode of Season 6 Deep Dive. Today, for the Starks, the most honorable, flavorful faction in the books, in the series. And so I'm very thankful I have Levin Wampus with me today, who's also honorable, most, lore guy in our team. So thanks for having you today.
Hey guys,
hey.
I'm happy to be here right now.
Yeah, so let's bring the elephant into the room right now. So Levin was probably the most loyal player and one of the best Stark players I know. So and recently, after Season 6 change, he moved a little bit away from the Starks and moved to the Night's Watch, which I highly appreciate. But we will cover some reasons why you stepped away from the wolves, not howling anymore. Now no girls, just cold, just the wall, you became a watcher on the wall. But we will talk about the reasons why. All right. But before we do, let's start with the current state of the Starks. So, Levin, in your point of view, where were the Starks before Season 6?
I think they were in a quite good spot. I mean, Season 5 was a bit rougher. The best season for Starks was obviously Season 4, when the Starks weren't that oppressive and good in competitive side, but overall the Starks were always capable of bringing very good lists. But also sometimes they were dependent also like other factions in like 2-3 commanders, like Robb, Greatjon, maybe Edard. Yeah, so, but all in all, I think they were in an okay spot. Not too good, not too low, just okay.
Okay. So, and in terms of, you mentioned commanders, do you feel that in comparison to other factions that the Starks have a good variety of, and I just counted down, like units, and I think we're all aware Starks are in a tough position when it comes to 6-point units, and I'm very happy to see that we see some changes. We will dive into that later. But do you think, in comparison to other factions, how are they in terms of pick rate for the commanders, units, and you also mentioned list building? Starks were, in my point of view, a faction which were always able to build higher activation lists also, while others couldn't. So where do you see that?
I would say, to compare now to Season 5 or 6, I think Starks are kind of in a rough spot. For example, because of the 4-point extra right now, the very good specialty for Starks, as you mentioned, were like bringing high activation lists. But now maybe you have to use this spot still to get Attachment Wolf, where other factions maybe use I would say more flavorful attachments which bring you more onto the battlefield and have another unit, and you just have maybe a wolf. They are very nice. They're still speedy. You can do a lot of movement with them. But compared, it's only like 3 wounds or 4 wounds, and like a unit is 12 wounds, which is quite different, right? Yeah.
So obviously the general changes of Season 6 are, we have those 4 attachment slots, or 3, 5, but mostly 4.
Yes.
We cannot pick the neutral commanders anymore. We cannot pull in neutral attachments for free. So this is basically what we see. So in your point of view, what can we expect? What will happen before we dive deeper into each and every change? What does that mean for the Starks?
It means that the variety of commanders will change because, as we all know, Greatjon was nerfed.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people will drift from him away. I tested him now here and there. and I still think he's playable, but it is not as reliant as before. You can make a lot
reliable,
of
you mean?
Yeah, reliable.
Yeah.
No, it's not
reliable.
reliant anymore.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Correct. And so I think the people will try to figure out new lists and craft new lists with the Starks, which is first of all good, because then you don't have like this metric centered around like the two commanders, as you said. Although I believe Robb in competitive way only got stronger. His list only got stronger, so we will see which commander will take his side now in the future. Because I think he is still a bookmark for Starks in competitive play.
Okay. Anything else on like the ability to put in 4 attachments for free for the Starks in comparison to other factions? Does that really mean a thing to the Starks, or is it just, I can tank my units a little bit, or does it really make a difference for the Starks in comparison to others? I mean, we had the Targaryen video, right, where we talked about the non-weakenable Blood Riders, which is okay, I feel. I mean, you cannot compare really across the factions and can't compare anything like in detail because the faction play is totally different. But does it fuel the Starks, these changes, or is it just nice to have?
I think some of them will fuel the Starks. So like, I think a lot of things, the one key attachment which every other faction want to have is the Cranogman Survivalist.
Yeah.
Because he's one of the only attachments which allow you to put another attachment in your unit, which is very, very, very strong. I mean, when you put him aside, I mean, he's not like an overpowered attachment giving Pathfinder, but putting him in another unit with another attachment, that makes the unit pretty strong.
So does he, I mean, we will cover him a little bit more in detail later on, but like, does he help, or other attachments? In general, I think we can, in general, we can say 7-point units from the Starks are probably not as good as we see it in other factions. So let's just take the Great Axes, for example. Great Axes are probably not as good as other stuff we see. So do these attachments that I can just put one into Great Axes as an example, unfortunately the others can do also. So and this is probably a bad thing for the Starks, I feel. So we have these, let's say, a little bit under average 7-point units. We have probably overshadowed 6-point units. So we're really solid on the 5-point aspect, and we have 3 wolves. Unfortunately, we still have to buy into wolves, but at least that's for free now. So I think with this change, except the Survivalist, it probably fuels the other factions more than the Starks, probably, right?
I completely agree.
Yeah. So, like, to summarize it, the general changes we got are probably fueling others more than the Stark faction, which is probably one reason why you stepped to the Night's Watch. But I have to say, you're pretty new to the thing. Let me talk with you in half a year, because Night's Watch has quite some flaws as well. So okay, so let's go to the particular changes for the Stark faction in particular. So let's start with Commander. So we have Rickard Karstark. One little change, it seems. A general change across the game. Superior Numbers was changed. So Superior Numbers just got these 2 little words, same or, and this makes Superior Numbers like triggered quite instantly right off the start, right off the bat of the game, which is really good. So you do not have to wait until it fuels. Like, basically Starks are fueled by losing ranks, and this was no exception, but now it's triggered right away. So how do you feel about Rickard Karstark as commander in Season 6 and his change to Superior Numbers?
I think the superior numbers change is very, very good. And I mean, the commander attachment Rickard Karstark was good before. Now it's even better, or very good. Fueled by Slaughter is a dream for Starks because, like I said, they lack on defense. So every heal you get is amazing for them. I think, of course, not to be able to spend the weekend token is very, very strong right from the start. Putting them in Great Axes, for example, I think, is a very nice combo with the Survivalist again. So there is like a very nice unit which can threaten a lot of stuff. And I think it's a very good change. And we will see. I mean, there is also the attachment for the Starks, which also has this ability.
Oh yeah, the Karstark, not loyalist. That's the is it Karstark captain, whatever.
Yeah, loyalist. He's the loyalist captain.
Oh, it's a loyalist. Correct. Yeah. So he brings the same. Yeah.
Correct. And I think in some lists maybe you will see him, and because not spending the weekend token is always very, very good.
Yeah. Absolutely. So like in your point of view, we talked about Greatjon. You say he's still playable. We talked about Robb. We also talked about Edard, which also like with Relic Cry and he has good cards, right? He brings also additional attacks or additional actions, while the whole game basically got a little bit like put down in terms of more action. So that's good. That will probably fuel indirectly Edard. So, but what about Rickard Karstark? Is he now a valid option? Talking, let's say, like on two aspects. On, let's say, competitive wise, and secondly, like, is he now like, is he straight up way better that his pick rate will increase? What do you think?
I think he is, of course, better than before. I'm not sure if he's way better because I haven't played it. I haven't tested him to be like, to realize facts on how I feel with him. But I think he got just better because, like I mentioned, not spending weekend tokens is very, very good.
That's strong.
And in a competitive scene, also the same reason. Yeah, we have to see how he develops in the future. I can see him, but if he can compete with others, I'm not sure.
Okay. So I give you another example. I give you Mage. So Mage is a commander who was used before, also in season 5. There were some builds with Berserkers, also sometimes with Great Axes, but mostly with Berserkers. So basically, not dying, coming back, staying there with her basically, and hitting again with basically everything. So and you can just probably not kill her with her cards, with all the stuff we can do. So this is pretty awesome, especially with Battle Scars together with Battle Scars. So we got this change, Sustained Assault in general for the game. So now we got added, also becomes vulnerable. So with Sustained Assault, you not only have the rerolls and the highest attack, but you also put a vulnerable out. So which makes the card substantially better. So what about Mage now? Same question. Does Mage now move up the rank, or do you say, no, it's still Robb for me, it's still Greatjon, probably Edard? What do you say about her?
I think she's very, very good. Also, same reason as mentioned with Karstark before. Not sure how she will end or change the meta right now. She has one of the only cards for the entire Stark universe, I always say, which is a lot of healing, because of the supply aid, which is very nice. So you can there's also a move where you can, with Shaggy, you can use support of Bear Island on him, and then you can make him active right away with all the damage he can put out. This is a very nice combo. Here we stand, it's not so easy to pull off. And I like this card, but there's a lot of also chip damage in the game with Doran, and where you can just get wounds out of nothing. And this makes the card like not easy to use, and also sometimes a bit like it looks good on paper, but is it really that good in the game? If it would be like start of any turn, not auto friendly. I
That's
think
what I
that
wanted
would
to say.
be,
Yeah.
that would be a huge step up. That will bring that card to an S tier card. And I think then with Sansa, for example, then you can just get it back on your turn and then play it in the opponent's turn. And that will be amazing. I think then this card will be very good and also very annoying for the opponent to play around. Yeah.
But also straight better, right? She just got a little better. And I won't be, or I won't get tired of saying that I, in general, appreciate that developers take certain things and move up the needle instead of saying, we take Mage Mormont now and, whatever, take Sustained Assault out and give her a completely different card, which might end up being OP or which might end up not working anything. Yeah. So I appreciate that they take, this is the general theme or the general direction for this commander, and we see she's a little bit underplayed in comparison to others. We move up the needle. While keeping the balance, because Sustained Assault is for others also buffed. So So let's see. Maybe it helps. So now,
what do you think?
You can definitely have some fun and good games with her, and you can also win games. That's what I think. But I totally agree with you. It's not like a straight up. It's not Barrick. This is not a Barrick commander, which you just say, I kill you, and if you kill me, I just stand up and hit and kill you again. So it's not the same.
It's not the one.
All right, so we talked a lot about him, and he's too big to oversee. So we have Greatjon.
Yeah.
So Greatjon, obviously, let me summarize it really short because a lot of people will know. But basically, he was able to top of round, go in, deal berserker tactics, take 4 wounds, and just kill you, right? Because he just does a lot of damage through his attack, plays berserker tactics, and was able to wipe out a unit in one blow. So that was the main reason why he was so often played, and also on a competitive end, played a lot of times, at least. So he was at least in one list. Mm-hmm. In general, you were also able to do the Shaggy Bomb, which you can explain in a second. But this was in an essence why he was played so widely used, right? Together with reckless heroism, you do not have to think about the charge. You do not have to think about do I do enough damage. He was mostly seen in something like cutthroats, berserkers. There are other examples, and then if you can pull it off with the overrun, game's over, right? So that's him in an essence. But now berserker tactics got changed, and maybe you can guide us through why he was nerfed.
I think that as we see maybe in other factions, they tried to remove damage from the game. If this really worked out, we will see in the future. Because I've played some games, and I think the damage maybe increased a bit actually. Mm-hmm. But we will see this in the future. Now back to Papa John, as I call him. His damage was he was very reliant on his damage, and maybe for the developers and also for the balance of the game, too reliant. Yeah. There were not many factions which could deal with this kind of damage, or how to negate, because you play Greatjon in high activation lists. So basically you just activated out your opponent and then smashed in and killed a unit, maybe even 2.
Pretty straightforward.
And then you basically run away and try to score, because as I said, you're very glass canary also, so you die also quite quick. And then so now berserker tactics, you remove wounds for keywords or abilities like Sundering, Crit Blow, Vicious, and not Vicious, highest attack. And as I said, this is also very strong, because now you can play this on Cavaliers with Crit Blow is nice. As 9 dice with Crit Blow and Sundering is pretty strong. Ravagers are also happy about this card. But of course, you have to roll 6s And
Yes.
if you don't roll sixes, this is not reliant. So
Yes.
You can also roll shitty, as we all know.
As we. Oh, I don't know.
You don't know, of course. Yeah. I mean, this card has like huge upside, but can also just
which is fair, I feel, right? And this is something I do like, because I think, and we have seen this in season, I think 4 mainly. There was a season patch where it was really obvious that they are trying to reduce these feel bad moments out of the game, right? Where you say, I cannot do anything against this move. I cannot prepare. I cannot do. This is just, it comes down to luck probably, or it comes down, I cannot do. And this is something also where, when Greatjon comes in, there's probably, for this unit, I need a lot of luck to survive this, and this is and it is not dependent on dice, right? And I feel if you play this card and you roll that high and you roll good, then it's an element of also luck, but it does not mean I'm dying like for sure, right? It means he can go in, but let's see how he rolls, right? And if he can pull it off, if he does not pull it off, I will probably just kill him, right, in next round or next turn. Probably next round. But and then the game totally changes from then on, right? So which is fair, I feel. Yeah. But that's on Greatjon. Do you who is your go-to pick as a commander in the Starks now? Is it still him?
I'm not sure. I think I built some lists with him, which we can see in a second. I think he is. I played him, and for example, my Stark Outriders almost one-shotted a unit with them, with Berserker tactics. But because I rolled lucky, I rolled a lot of sixes.
With ambush or without ambush?
With ambush.
With ambush. Okay.
With ambush. With the new ambush.
With the new ambush. Yeah.
With the new ambush. And so I had like, I think 9 hits, 10 hits, something. And then he failed the panic and died with like 3. So it was lucky. But of course, you can also roll no sixes, and then it's just a normal.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So which I would have liked a bit more than Sundering, maybe, which is nice, but we already have access to this card with Winter's Might. Maybe would have been the Vicious from my kind of view. That would have been very nice, but or maybe that you can maybe choose it as well than with Sundering, but it is what it is. And my pick right now for the Starks, I think, for high competitively is still Robb.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Has more reasons than just competitive, but yeah, for me it would also be Robb, but because it's just like the movement shenanigans and all that. But talking about Robb, I mean, like, there is Robb Stark NCU, which I really like the change, because this was a card before which did not have any kind of influence. So the only thing he was able to do was give you a different outflank, or let's say a buffed outflank, right, to a unit. I would say
very bad outflank, because you had to take the
horses.
The horses, and then
but the result was a better outflank, right? In terms of I mean, you attached the card, and this unit which you outflank gained something off of it, right? Yeah, okay. That's what I meant by you gain. Yeah, but the trigger was not well designed. So basically, now he is just outflanking, right? So you look at the deployment, then you pick a unit, then you say this unit will outflank. It won't be buffed or anything, but you can outflank this unit as before, like as the usual at outflank. But on top of it, he also gained Wolf's Swiftness, and Wolf's Swiftness is to any friendly unit while influencing a friendly unit. So Cav, Wolves, infantry, everything, +1 movement. And in the beginning, you said one of the most or key element for this faction is not only positioning, but also speed. So he brings quite some new stuff as an NCU. So that summarizes it. Where do you see him? What are you trying to do with him? And final question, what about Greywind now? Do you build lists now where you say, okay, I just have to spend these 4 points for more movement and I can bring in a wolf without spending another point or whatever for Robb or 2 points probably, right? No, it's 2. Yeah, 2 points. Yeah.
I think he is very good now. And I also think he will be making more reliant lists for 9 activations. Even.
Yes. Yes.
I think this will be very, very good for Starks in a way. And also for 8 activations lists, this is very, very, very nice. I played this now 2 times. And Tully Cavalier with 6 move is pretty good.
Yes.
Also the Outriders I played yesterday with Greatjon with 7 move is amazing.
Berserkers with 7.
Berserkers with 7 and Pathfinder. There is a lot of shenanigans you can do with him, and I think he's very, very good now. And the key element actually is, like, as you said, before deployment, one of your units gain the ability outflank.
Yeah.
So your opponent has to respect the outflank possibility. You don't have to do it, but you can. And then maybe House Telecavaliers, Greatjon, whoever is in your side with reckless heroism is a nightmare. So they really have to think how they deploy. This makes it very good.
Yeah, and also especially his outflank. It makes like a lot of times, like out of experience as a Night's Watch player with the Vanguard, who also bring outflank like built in. A lot of times you have amazing, but you have them and you build a 7 activation list, and a lot of times you step back from the outflank because you'd want the activation on the table. Here it's totally different. Right, because like Robb Stark, as you say, your opponent needs to respect what's happening. So during deployment, he already needs to think about what could happen if he takes away the Tully Cav and outflanks it, or what does happen if he takes away the Berserkers or whatever. So he needs to adapt to his deployment. While when you bring 7 activation Night's Watch with ambush, a lot of times it does not really change what your opponent is doing.
Yeah.
Here is it can be quite different. So that's what I really like about, and it's also pretty thematic. Also, I have to say that.
Correct.
So okay, so that's cool. So another cool thing, which I highly appreciate about the Stark changes, are the unit changes. So each and everything. So let's start with with probably one of the it's good. At least I mean, we still, and we will cover that in the wish list, we still have something that a lot, like, I don't want to say a lot of units, but there are some units that need help. Like bruisers, just saying bruisers, everything else will be in the wish list. But they changed the Stark Bowmen, which is most definitely an underwhelming Bowman unit compared to others. I mean, the ignores line of sight thing is cool, but they used to have, if your opponent rolls a 1 on a defense roll, that unit became weakened. Now it's just if you suffer or deal wounds, which probably will happen, at least 1 or 2, you will definitely put out a weaken. So this is above, but I feel it's still. I mean, they still could gain. I don't want to talk about the Skyreach Bowman, right? Because the Skyreach Bowman is just, it's just off the chart, right? Obviously, they're off the chart. But when you compare to similar things like the Dreadfort Archers, yeah, exactly. Those things, they move up the ranks now, but are probably still one of the lower things to play. But I appreciate the change. You could at least try them here and there, so that's good. You already mentioned the ambush on the Outriders. That really helps them. I feel same for the Vanguard, right? Because you started Night's Watch now. Same for the Vanguard. The Vanguard has they have no keyword, Stark Outriders have no keyword, so they highly benefit. You have to play them well, but they benefit. But the really important thing is the go down fighting on the Stark Sworn Sword. So so now to you, how do you feel about the Stark Sworn Swords now with go down fighting?
I think this is what you will see later in the wish lists. Is this an ability that makes Starks better on fighting on lower ranks, or maybe gives them a small advantage even losing ranks, right? Here you get a wound. I hope this comes up more thematically, or they work on this in the future. And I think this is a very nice small add-up for the unit. Because you will dish out 2 wounds at least, maybe even 3.
Yeah.
Hopefully not, but 2. And and I think this unit is now, like you said, the 5-point units are very good, and this is one of them.
It's a strong 5-point unit now. The only thing I do not like about this change is that they are basically the same as the Honor Guard, except the numbers. I'm just saying from the ability aspect. I would appreciate if the Honor Guard would gain now something, or because they are already quite well, or they change them a little. I don't know. That's the only thing I do not really like. All right. So that's on the units. They all move up the needle. They probably won't change the meta in terms of list building, but they become better. So that is good.
It's a good thing.
More on the wish list then. So we have one card left. We have to talk about Assault Orders. First thing, and I mentioned that in another video, was when first thing I saw back when I received the patch, was Assault Orders from Gregor. And I was thinking, okay, they will definitely change all the commanders, but they won't change the base deck from the Starks. Then I scrolled down 2 pages. I'm like, oh, okay, they did. So how do you feel about this nerfed tactics card in your base deck?
Yeah, it hurts a lot because it was our S tier card, right? It was our best card in the deck. And the Stark deck is overall one of the more lower sided decks when compared to base decks in the Song universe right now. So this, in my opinion, was a huge blow for the Starks. I mean, you can still work around it with like Berserkers, you hit with 7 dice, Tali Cavaliers with 8. There are still some units which don't feel the nerf that much, but it's 2 dice lower, it's 1 dice lower, and this is still not making it better for the Starks. It's still not good for them, although there are ways around it.
Yeah, it nerfs. All in all, So
it was not there.
Sorry, I just wanted to say it nerfs a base deck which was already one of the not best base decks in the game, right? When we compare Martells, Lannisters, Greyjoy, right? If you compare that, the base deck is pretty. I don't want to say it's bad, but it's really one-sided. It's charge, it's attack,
straightforward.
It's one movement and that's it. So it nerfs down a deck which wasn't great before. So that's not good. But what is good? Another thing that is really good is that we changed some attachments. So we have 4 units that stepped from 2 points to 1 point. Which is your most favorite change?
I would say Brent and Tully, the foot. I think he's very, very, very nice because, again, what I lacked in Starks is defense, and he brings me defense. He brings me a heal, as again, we need heal, and he brings Iron Resolve, and Iron Resolve is one of the best keywords for me.
Yes.
Mitigating panic damage, which is always very dicey in the game, which can win you the game, which can lose you the game, and having like a ability to reduce the damage is very, very good. For example, this Brent Tully and Karstark's Bowmen is with the Survivalist is a damn beefy unit. You put them on stakes and nobody wants to engage with them.
Yeah.
For example, because you can't.
So how about or let's say Rickard. Let's take Rickard. Stark Fury is obviously a good thing, or a strong order. Because you gain crit blow and sundering off of it in this turn. I mean, you have to suffer wounds for it, but a lot of times, in certain things like Berserkers or even Sworn Swords, this is good, right? It is good. I mean, as long as you are quite healthy, it's no problem, and it's good, and it probably gives you even one more thing, like whatever rerolls or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So how about Ricker Karstark? I mean, the uncontrolled rage is okay. In general, we all do not like abilities that are not in our hands. But yeah, how do you feel about him for 1 point now?
Yeah, I think because if you like, if there's uncertainty happen and you maybe will have to charge a unit that you don't like to charge, this can maybe again lose you the game. But I mean, Stark's Fury in general, I love Benjamin Stark, for example, Night's Watch. He's one of my favorite commanders right now to play, and the ability to get crit blow and sundering is very nice.
Yeah,
helps Starks again. Because for example, berserkers don't have a keyword, and they getting crit blow and sundering is pretty nice for example. So I think he's good if he sees a lot of play. I don't think so, because there are other attachments right now you really want to have, like Brent Tully or others that you really want to have in your units.
Yeah, and here are some of them, and I would say the Umber Champion was an attachment which was not played that often, even though, right, he especially through his highest attack value, he quite fueled his, let's say, house unit, the Umber Berserkers, because they gained the highest attack value right off the start and gained the Vicious, but that was it, right? And to remind everyone, the Umber Berserkers do not have a keyword built in. So now when they charge, they also throw out a vulnerable.
Yeah.
So do you feel this attachment will move up quite a bit?
I don't know. Maybe. The dishing out vulnerable tokens is always good because it makes the damage attack very reliant or more reliant. Also, getting the keyword is nice. I would have liked maybe if it would have been like as the Winterfell Guard captain, which just gives the ability Vicious or crit blow just on every attack. That would have been very, very good then, because there are a lot of abilities which already give you highest attack. So this is not an aspect where the Starks lack this ability to have. So I think it's good if it steps up the ladder a lot. I don't think so. Right?
Okay. So still overwhelmed by others. Okay. So I give you another one. Bran and Hodor also gives you Summer, so you access Summer as a wolf option, and they changed him or them in terms of you do not have to take away the attachment anymore, and that is good. So you do not have to lose a wound. You retreat out of it for 6. You lose all abilities, so there's no +1 wound, and obviously the retreat is also gone. But you retreat out of a desperate situation with 6 to the side or like behind. Probably the side would be the best because they added enemies this unit disengages from may not pivot. So you probably with the 6 go out of line of sight, which could be big in certain situations. So how do you feel about him? Is he, with the combination of bringing Summer, is he now something that you would try to build in, or is it again something nice to have, but I don't know.
I mean, Hodor also saw a lot of play in the 9 activation lists for Greatjon. There he already was played now. I think it's very good because if he, for example, is on his own wound, on the last wound, and you are very desperate and you need to retreat before you could retreat anymore because you will die.
Because you will die.
Now you can and get out of the situation and you scoot away. That is pretty good. And as you mentioned, no line of sight is nice.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah.
So and also combination with Arya.
So Jordan Reed, the ability totally changed. Maybe you can guide us through that in a second. But also he was 2 points, which was way too expensive of what he brought, right? Way too expensive. But now for 1 point, how do you feel about the change of Jordan's green side and now with 1 point?
I think if he would, I mean, I can just recap. Before he had also you could choose one, and his ability was reroll on any attack dice, so this was good on range as well. And or you can ignore hindering. I got quite simply saying a Pathfinder on the charge attack, which was okay. Maybe handy, but not always used. His strong ability was always rerolling attack dice, in my opinion, which was like he innate as he as well. And now he has the ability to reroll defensive dice, which is also nice. But you can also only do it 2 times, or rerolling attack dice.
2
but
times,
limited to 2 options, which you can choose. I think if they would kept him the same, that would be pretty amazing for 1 point, I have to admit. Then I think he would have been maybe not busted, but on the, I would say, Blood Rider level, would have been very good. For example, in Howl and Reed list, he would be amazing with all the shooting.
Yeah.
But I think he's good, and I think he will see a lot of play. I think he's fine. Here and there in some lists, for example, in Howl and Reed, and I like Howl and Reed. I played him also in the tournament.
I know.
Yeah, surprisingly, I always like to do this kind of stuff. And he was fine, and he was good. So yeah.
Okay, so let's come to the last 3 attachments, which go into the direction of like lore, thematic. Let's start with the Water Dancer. So the Water Dancer, Sirio Pharrell, kept precision. Water Dance got changed from, or he used to have agile, which is basically a kind of like disrupt against everything, not against melee, but against any attack, which was good, but he was 2 points. So sometimes you build meme lists with him in something that already had disrupt, or you did that kind of thing. Now the new Water Dance just gives a vulnerable token, and I think it's fair to say it's an overshadowed attachment now, even for 1 point.
Yeah.
Is there anything to add?
No, just sad.
Just sad. Okay, sad.
Just sad.
Sad cereal.
Water.
Yeah.
Water.
Yeah, sad cereal. So, okay.
I like the unique ability, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. Okay, so let's go to 2 more exciting things. So let's go to the Winterfell Champion first. So the Winterfell Champion basically is limited to 2 now. Probably, and I might spoiler that, but saying, I don't know if that's really needed to limit him to 2, but it's the case. The first one you take when you play Edard Stark, Lord of Winterfell, so the commander version, is free, which is cool, especially in the combination you already mentioned. In Berserkers, he's really good with crit blow, right? Going in, rerolls, roll on 6s with that many with that many dice. Also, they charge in, opponent becomes weakened, helps them also, because they are quite fragile. I mean, depending on the ranks, but they are they could be quite vulnerable. So, how do you feel about the Winterfell Champion?
Yeah, I think he is very good. You will see him also in other lists, not only in Edard. It would have been amazing if you would have the same ability like the Survivalist, ignoring the attachment limit. Then you could have built a lot of beefy in-your-face dark list, which would have been also fluffy. But I think especially in Edard, you will see him a lot. And in other lists maybe as well, but I haven't built that many lists with him, but he's in a fine attachment. Crit blow and dishing out a weekend on the charge is nice.
Also, always good, yeah. So you already talked a little bit about the Cranachman Survivalist. And we already said he's limited to 2, but he basically comes around with no attachment limits. So what Starks can do I think the only ones that can also do it are Greatjon, but they only bring outflank. Is there any other that has no limitations?
Davos Commander.
Okay, but right, this Krennicman Survivalist without any limitations, you could just add it to something, will enable the Starks to always make use of all their free attachment points. Yeah. And I might say, and I want to say, these, as you said in the beginning, these keywords are not OP, but each and every unit gains something off of it, right? Yeah. Each and every unit, whatever unit you use, I mean, there are obviously better and worse choices, but it doesn't really matter which unit he goes in, he brings something. Elusive Escape in certain situations when you retreat is good. Pathfinder obviously is good for attacky units, right? For berserkers or everything. They don't care about charging on the stakes, charging through woods, charging through whatever. They don't care. They don't care. They go in, they will have their rerolls. He brings a lot, right? So he's probably the best attachment change we have in the season 6 change. Yeah.
Definitely.
Like
I mentioned, he brings everything the Starks want because he makes every unit a bit better.
Yeah.
With Pathfinder, like I said in the beginning, movement is key for Starks, and also in combination with Arya retreating, Elusive Escape, not pivoting, bringing out a weekend. There's a lot of possibilities, and as you said, charging through anything, saying hello, and this is a perfect attachment for Starks.
Yeah. So good change. So on a wish list perspective, let's make it quick. Three things. I want change. Okay. I want to change to bruisers. I'm thinking they should just be more. They used to have disrupt, right? I mean, they no Counter-Strike, right? Counter-Strike disrupt. Now they only have disrupt. Yeah, exactly. So they still have disrupt, but I feel they still lack something. There's something missing in this unit. They are not really attacky. They are not really defensive. They are in between. So you always pick something else. So bruisers need a change in my book. I also would like to see maybe a change still to the Tully Calf. The Tully Calf, I know we have like different views on this, but I feel the Tully Calf is still not where they should be. I think they can be brought down a little bit, and I'm just saying like a little, right? Just a little needle to a little lower, because they feel sometimes like 8.5 points units or unit. And what else? Can I think about the third one? No, I give it to you. What are your top three things you want to see changed?
I would like to have one defensive card in the base deck. So one change card. Defense, like a resilience, which enables you to fight on lower ranks, more reliant. So you can play like 5-point units, very attacky, and then be able to withstand their attack. That would be very nice, and it would fit, in my opinion, the Stark playstyle. Then I would love to see a change also to the Winter of the Guard right now, because now all the abilities don't feel very good.
Yeah.
With the 4-point,
and especially the adaptive, right? The adaptive is pretty much lost now, or not lost, but it's not really worth a thing anymore.
It's in between again.
Exactly, and it made it a 7-point unit. Through adaptive, they were considered a 7-point unit. Now this probably I don't care, right?
Yeah. Because if you compare them to Honor Guard, whatever, there's so many 7-point units, they just blast them, and that would be nice. And what is also this is more unique, but I would love to be able to play Robb NCU and Edard NCU together, so father and son on the political board. That would be nice, because I always feel like I want to play Edard 5-point, but I also want to play Robb now. So but this is just wish list, right?
That's wish list. It probably won't happen lore wise, but good wish list. Yeah. So
correct.
You prepared 2 lists, right? So let's start with the first one, and the first one make use of Edard, and also the Greatjon Survivalist. So guide me through what is the idea behind the list, and what is it trying to achieve? I mean, we basically covered, the survivalist and all these aspects, but what is this list in particular? What is it trying to do?
Yes, first shout out to the online tournament who made this list. I found this list very amazing, so I wanted to present it to all the Stark lovers.
It looks good. It looks good. Yeah,
it looks good. It reminds me a bit of the old Greatjon 9 activations in a way, but now with our Lord Edard, which is pretty cool. I think this list has a lot of different options, and that's why I think it's pretty strong, because every unit can do damage, and 3 of them can do a lot of damage. And you can play with the terrain a lot because of, as I mentioned, the survivalists bring us the key to play stakes in front of the opponent and just sitting on them and making it very hard for the opponent to engage with us. And when we want to engage, we can, but they can't. So if they don't have Pathfinder, right? So, but if they don't have the Pathfinder ability, like we do in like 2-3 units, then they're like, they don't know how to react, and they cannot protect every flank because you have a lot of activations. You have 9 activations, so you can overlap one flank, also help with the wolves, and also, I mean, so for example, the how you call them, the bastard boys, as I always call them.
The bastard boys. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with the Winterfell Guard now, they with crit blow and vicious and the vulnerable. Wow, that's a lot of damage, right? And then you maybe have Winter Smite, then even get Sundering on top, and then you can just melt the unit down in an instant if you are a bit lucky with the crit blows. I think. And also Edard is a beast in his honor guard.
Beast. Yeah, absolutely.
Is a very beastly unit, and with Fury of the Fallen, you cannot attack Edard. You really have to look out where to attack, and because also Edard heals again with the Rally Cry, you actually don't want to hit other units than Edard, but Edard is quite beefy. So I think this list will bring a lot of trouble for some opponents out there.
Yeah. So do you feel this will become a meme? I mean, I see like most lists I see now in Starks have the 2 survivalists built in. So it probably will become a meme, something like, oh, you play Starks, just take the 2 stakes, right? I mean, I would just hand over the two stakes for you, just put them where you want it. That's probably a thing, right? So I really like the list, and I will definitely play it. And I always trying to go for 3 wolves because I just like to play it, but this comes really close, so that might bring me over to this list. So the second one shows Greatjon, right? So Greatjon also with the Greatjon Survivalist. So tell me why this list is still valid in season 6.
Like I said, I tested it, and I'm not sure how competitive this is, and I think you can maybe still do some twerks here and there. I think it is still quite good because of the amazing threat range of the Umbra Berserkers with Greatjon. I mean, with Robb, for example, they have a 13-inch threat range just charging. With the Reckless Heroism, you can just scoot over the map, like Arya 7-inch, then Horses 7-inch, then it's 14 plus 13 is always the whole map. So everything is chargeable. Like the opponent really has to look out where he has to, how to position. And then with Robb, you even have outflank. So you may pretend to outflank this unit, and then you're definitely, the opponent cannot escape a charge. It's impossible. And and then you have, like I said, the defensive unit with Brent Tully. They just sit on the stakes, as I said, and just hold the objective. And who can come, you can have a tea with us, but you can go afterwards. I think they're very tanky, and I think they. And then you have a lot of CAF. You have the Wolf, you have the Tully Cavaliers, and you have the Outriders. You have another swift reposition. So you can bring out your movement shenanigans in this list a lot. And the only thing which you're not reliant as anymore, because you don't have Sansa, you really have to play with your cards. You cannot fish for any cards. You have to be a bit lucky with your cards.
Yeah.
Otherwise you just have to play quite neat, as I said, as always with Starks, and try to position better than him and make tough decisions for him.
Mm. Interesting. I didn't think about this. Like I haven't seen this concept of Greatjon. So I feel it's really interesting. Let's see.
For example, if you attack, right, with the 9 dice, crit blow, sundering, that's a lot of damage. Like if you roll good, you can just blast the unit.
Yes.
But as I said, maybe you roll bad and they're not, but there is the possibility that you can. So and as always, the opponent has to respect it. Yeah.
What I really like, and we talked about this during the NCU thing, the Robb Stark in here just saying, I could take away this unit and bring it over here. This is something I really like. I really like, especially in this list where obviously where you have so much movement and so much that you have to respect it. The deployment needs to adapt to you, which is good. All right,
so the key.
Yeah. All right, so this brings us to the end of these season 6 changes, and I have to ask you this now that we covered all these changes, that we looked at certain lists, that we talked about everything. So you're still want to move away from the Starks?
Yeah, I will. This season, I will join the Night's Watch. But I'm not far away. I mean,
you're not far away. It's still it's still a northern faction, so this is good. Yeah, and talking to me, I have to say this is the only real faction. So welcome, Sworn Brother Levine to the Night's Watch.
Thanks.
Yeah. So I think we covered everything. If we did not cover anything, if we forgot something, or you have a totally different opinion on something, just drop it down in the comments below. We are happy to reach out to you or jump on the Discord and talk to us. Please consider to become a Patreon for hits and crits and stats to fuel us and our content and everything we do, fuel stats in its development and all the new stuff that will come across. So and I think we covered everything. Levin, thanks for being here. There is always, and I think there's nothing more to say. Then until we meet again, roll those crits, guys.
Come for the hits and stay for the crits.